Hello everyone, welcome to IAS Darshana. I hope you all are doing very well. So without wasting any of the time, let's move to the topics of the day. Today's topic is Parliament question Major Space Mission by ISRO. During the last 5 years, from December 2020 to December 2025, 22 ISRO satellites have been launched, out of which 7 are Earth observation, 4 are communication, and 2 are navigation, 3 are space science, and 6 are technology demonstration missions. There has been no cost overrun in Chandrayaan 3 and Aditya L1 satellite projects. However, there has been time overrun of 28 and 46 months respectively for Chandrayaan 3 and Aditya L1 satellites, mainly due to the following reasons. Aditya L1 time overrun in the project is due to the change in the scope, change in orbit from low Earth orbit to Lagrangian point, calling for changes in the satellite configuration, longer cycle for the payload development and procurement of long lead items. Chandrayaan 3 time overrun is due to reconfiguration of systems to incorporate suggested by Chandrayaan 2 Failure Analysis Committee, COVID-19 pandemic, conduct of new special test and new sensor development. Gangayaan program aims to demonstrate indigenous human spaceflight capability of low Earth orbit. The program was officially sanctioned by the Government of India in January 2019 with a mandate to undertake 2 uncrewed missions in identical configuration and 1 crewed mission with total budget approval of 9,023 crore with target schedule of crewed mission launch in May 2022. Recently in October 2024, the scope of Gangayaan program was revised from 3 to 8 mission including additional uncrewed mission and also 4 precursor missions for Bharatiya Antariksh Station with total revised budget provision of 20,193 crore. The activities as per revised approval is in progress with target of first crewed mission in year 2027-28. For the Gangayaan program, ISRO is developing and realizing various systems for accomplishing the planned missions considering the straight human rating requirements, extensive testing of propulsion elements, structures of human rated launch vehicles, service module propulsion system and crew module propulsion system. Parachute based declaration system has been completed. The critical crew escape system motors have also been developed and a static test have been completed. In parallel, development of indigenous environmental control and life support systems is in progress. Major infrastructure such as orbital module preparation facility, Gangayaan control center, crew training facility have been established. Second launch pad modifications have been incorporated. Precursor missions such as TVD-1 and IADT-01 have been successfully accomplished. Ground tracking networks, terrestrial links and IDRSS-1 feeder stations have been established. Crew module recovery plan as well as assets to be deployed have been finalized. For the first uncrewed mission, all HLV M3 stages and CES motors are ready. Crew and service module systems have been realized. Assembly and integration activities are nearing completion. The first crewed mission is targeted in 2027 and 28. The India has achieved self-reliance in space transportation system to launch satellites up to 10 tons to low Earth orbit and 4.2 tons to geosynchronous transfer orbit through the currently operational PSLV, GSLV and LVM3 launch vehicles. These launch vehicles have enabled independent space access to satellites for Earth observation, communication, navigation and space exploration. In order to enhance the launch vehicle capabilities towards meeting the expand space vision, government has approved the development of the next generation launch vehicle, which will provide a maximum payload capability of 30 tons to low Earth orbit. Towards achieving low cost access to space, reusable launch vehicle technologies are also being developed, including a partially reusable variant of NGLV with 14 tons payload capability to LEO. Another development is of a winged body upper stage which will fly back from the orbit to the earth and autonomously land on a runway. With regard to development of more powerful and more efficient propulsion system, ISRO has undertaken the development of high thrust semi-cryogenic engine for including in the LVM-3 vehicle. An environmentally friendly methane-based propulsion system for high thrust engine is also being conceptualized for the next generation launch vehicle, ensuring technology readiness for the launch vehicle for the proposed crewed moon mission. Apart from these, development of an air-breathing propulsion system is underway towards a dual-fuel scramjet engine. The government proposes to increase budget allocation for critical space infrastructure and R&D projects of the Department of Space. The Space Vision 2047 of the government targets establishment of the Bharatiya Antariksh Station by 2035 and landing of an Indian on moon by 2040. Towards this, government has approved 5 key R&D intensive projects. The Gangayaan follow-on mission, the Chandrayaan follow-on mission including Chandrayaan-4 lunar sample return mission and the Chandrayaan-5 LUPEX mission, the Venus orbiter mission and the development of the next generation launch vehicle. As part of an expansion of ground infrastructure for achieving the space vision, government has approved 2 more launch pads, one at Kulasekharapattinam in Tamil Nadu and the third launch pad for the next generation of launch vehicles. The next topic for the day is India and Argentina sign ICAR INTA Work Plan 2025-27 to boost bilateral agricultural research and technology exchange. The Indian Council of Agricultural Research and the National Institute of Agricultural Technology, Argentina have signed a work plan from 2025 to 2027 to strengthen bilateral cooperation in agricultural research, capacity building and technology exchange. Dr. M.L. Jat, Secretary, Department of Agricultural Research and Education and Director General, ICAR and H.E. Mario Agustin Causino, Argentinian ambassador to India, exchanged the signed ICAR INTA work plan today, marking a significant step toward in strengthening bilateral agricultural collaboration. The work plan establishes collaboration across natural resource management, sustainable agronomy, including zero tillage, mechanization, micro irrigation and fertigation, crop and animal biotechnology, livestock improvement, production technologies for temperate and tropical crops, digital agriculture, biosafety and phytosanitary measures, and value chain development. Implementation will be through joint research, germplasm exchange, expert engagements, and structured training and study visits. Planned study visits and training program cover greenhouse vegetable production, for floriculture and temperate fruits, post-harvest physiology, functional food development, veterinary diagnostic, precision livestock farming, waste to wealth technologies, microbial feed enhancement, digital agriculture and sanitary and phytosanitary systems. Germplasm exchange will include soybean, sunflower, maize, blueberry, citrus, wild papaya, species, guava, and select vegetable crops. India and Argentina are also deepening cooperation in oilseeds and pulses, value chain agricultural mechanization including zero tillage, cotton harvesting machinery and drones, and horticulture value chain development. including infrastructure and planting material exchange. In plant and animal health, it envisages region-specific foot and mouth disease elimination strategies and enhanced collaboration on locust surveillance and management through technical exchanges and best practice sharing. Both sides reaffirmed their commitment to the India-Argentina scientific partnership and agreed to annual monitoring and review to ensure effective implementation and progress. So the next topic of the day is liability of mobile subscribers for SIM misuse and cyber security. Minister of State for Communications and Rural Development, Dr. Pemmasani Chandrasekhar, in a written reply to an unstarred question in the Lok Sabha today, said that as per subsection 42 clause 3 clause E of the Telecommunication Act of 2023, obtaining subscriber identity modules or other telecommunication identifiers through fraud, cheating, personation is an offence. Police and public order are state subjects as per the 7th schedule of the Constitution of India. Government has made necessary legal provisions under subsection 42 clause 3 clause C and subsection 42 clause 3 clause F of the Telecommunications Act of 2023, making tampering with telecommunication identifiers and willfully possessing radio equipment knowing that it uses unauthorized or tampered telecommunication identifiers as offences. In addition, telecom cyber security rules prohibit any person to intentionally remove, obliterate, change or alter the unique telecommunication equipment identification number or intentionally use, produce, traffic in, have control or custody of or possess hardware or software related to the telecommunication identifier or telecommunication equipment knowing it has been configured in such manner. Department of Telecommunications through license conditions has mandated that the telecom service providers ensures adequate verification of each and every customer before enrolling them as a subscriber. DOT has developed a citizen-centric Sanchar Sati app and portal which inter alia facilitates citizens to check genuineness of mobile handset through international mobile equipment identity. DOT is promoting digital safety and preventing telecom related fraud through widespread awareness campaigns under Sanchar Sati initiative. Explainer videos and infographics regarding IMEI verification have been prepared and uploaded on the DOT's social media platform. DOT has also launched Sanchar Mitra scheme through which student volunteers have been engaged to educate citizens about digital safety, fraud prevention and the use of the Sanchar Sati portal and app. Their involvement helps deepen awareness at the grassroots level, especially through communication in local languages. Apart from above, citizen outreach includes multilingual news, articles and ads, digital screens and hoardings in public spaces, TV and radio messages, local level activities by DOT field units, SMS campaigns with TSPs and extensive social media content. Sanchar Sati also helps in Jan Bhagidari by the citizens in reporting suspected misuse of telecom resources in cyber frauds by making it easy to report such suspected fraud communications. Sanchar Sati allows those who understand the risk of actively protect those who do not, enabling authorities and telecom operators to identify patterns and take action on offending numbers and fake connections, thus holding offenders accountable while protecting innocent subscribers. So the next topic for the day is demand for organic wheat and pulses. There is a significant and steadily growing demand for organic wheat and pulses in the Indian market. Consumer preference is shifting towards chemical-free, traceable and sustainably grown food, especially in urban and semi-urban centers. Rising health awareness, increasing household incomes and trust E-certified organic supply chains by further boosted demand. National Cooperative Organics Limited through its Bharat Organics brand is ensuring that organic wheat and tur dal farmers get into prices, assured procurement, reduced input costs, stronger certification support, and nationwide market access. NCOL is undertaking several measures to directly benefit farmers engaged in organic wheat and tur dal cultivation as follows. First point, direct procurement by Bharat Organics. Procurement of organic wheat and pulses is done directly from certified farmers, ensuring transparent pricing, one-time payments, reduction of post-harvest losses, no exploitation by middlemen. Second point, MSP plus pricing. Farmers receive premium prices over conventional MSP due to direct procurement without intermediaries. This ensures higher and stable income of organic growers. Assured market linkage. Through modern trade, government outlets, e-commerce and institutional buyers, NCOL is expanding market access, enabling large-scale procurement of organic wheat and pulses. Cluster-based organic farming model. NCOL supports farmer producer organizations and cooperative societies to adopt certified organic practices, reducing pre-acre input costs and improving soil health. Certification and traceability support. Support is provided for NPOP certification testing and digital traceability so farmers do not bear the financial burden of compliance. This increases market acceptance and export potential. Brand-led value addition. Under the Bharat Organics label, products are clean, processed, packed and sold across D2C, e-commerce and retail networks. This value addition brings higher returns to farmers through cooperative-based marketing. Training and capacity building. Farmers are trained in organic methods, soil regeneration, pest management and residue-free cultivation, improving long-term productivity and reducing chemical dependency. The next topic for the day is White Revolution 2.0. White Revolution 2.0 has been launched on 25th December 2024 as a cooperative-led initiative of the Ministry of Cooperation in coordination with the Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying. Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, the program aims to expand cooperative coverage, generate employment and strengthen women's participation in the dairy sector. White Revolution 2.0 envisages the establishment of 75,000 new multi-purpose dairy cooperative societies and the strengthening of 46,000 existing DCS over a 5-year period from financial year 2024-25 to financial year 2028-29. By the end of 5th year, milk procurement by dairy cooperatives is projected to reach 1000 lakh kg per day. The initiative is being funded under the revised National Program for Daily Development of the Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, which has been aligned with the targets of White Revolution 2.0. Under this scheme, financial assistance is being made available for setting up of village level milk procurement system, milk chilling facilities for quality milk procurement, training and capacity building. The last topic for the day is implementation of PM Daksh. PM Daksh scheme is a central sector scheme introduced in 2020-25 to provide skill development training to SCs, OBCs, EWS, DNTS, Safai Karmacharis, including waste pickers, through the empaneled training institutes of Pradhana Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana under Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, National Scheduled Castes Finance and Development Corporation, National Backward Classes Finance and Development Corporation and National Safai Karmacharis Finance and Development Corporation implements training through those empaneled training institutions. The number of candidates trained under the schemes district-wise in the state of Andhra Pradesh in respect of NSFDC, NBCFDC and NSKFDC under the PM Daksh scheme. Proposals were invited from training programs of the target groups. The training slots were sanctioned based on the allocated targets for the specific year and the proposals received from the training institutes for 2024-25 and onwards. It has been decided to merge the PM Daksh scheme with Pradhana Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana scheme of the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like, share and subscribe. If you want any other matters to discuss, please comment below. Thank you. Have a nice day.